totally.
Just tell me a little bit about Java Cats and its purpose.
Okay, cool. Java Cats is Georgia's first adoptable cat cafe. We work with a local no-kill shelter, and we work to get cats adopted. They just stay here until they find their forever homes. The shelter we work with is no-kill. Super great, super fun. We have a cafe side, which is this side, and then in there we have cats, and they hang out and just wait until they find their forever homes, and that's what we do.
Has the pandemic impacted Java Cats at all?
The pandemic has definitely impacted us a lot. We had to lay off everyone in our staff, unfortunately. So it's just been me and Hayden, or Hayden and I, or Hayden and me. Can I start that over?
It's going to be edited.
Okay, cool. I'll start over then. The pandemic has definitely affected us a little bit. We had to lay off all of our staff when it first hit. We had the intention of bringing everyone back on, but we never were able to. So it's just been Hayden and me. Hayden's the owner. I'm the manager. We've just been doing everything. We have some volunteers, which is really nice, but unfortunately we were also denied both PPP loans, which are meant for small businesses, which I'm always going to be mad about. But unfortunately, it has affected us really, really badly. So yeah.
Okay. Like, has business suffered at all?
Business has suffered a little bit. We decreased our capacity in the lounge because we can, with COVID, we want to keep everyone safe, so we can only allow so many people in there.
What was it before?
It used to be 8 to 10. Now it's 6. So it's not super bad. We did have to up our prices a little bit, which kind of sucks. But it is hard only being able to allow so many people in there at a time. We've also, just during the initial beginning of the pandemic, we had barely anyone come in and stuff like that. Now we're having a lot more people come in. We still require masks in the lounge, and typically out here, except during special things like an interview. So yeah, thanks y'all. Sorry. I always want to tell people thank you. But yeah, it definitely. I forget the question.
The pandemic has affected
Yeah.
business.
Yeah, so business has been affected a lot. Our rent it's pretty hard to pay our rent a lot of times, but we're managing. I think we might pull through. We're doing okay. But yeah.
Have you seen an increase or decrease in the amount of cats you can receive? Because I know you get them from a pause, right?
Yeah, we do.
So since the pandemic, has it been an increase, decrease, or steady?
Yeah. When the pandemic first hit, we had so many adoptions. It was a lot of adoptions. We had to close twice because we ran out of cats, which is something that's never happened before. We had 4 cats, but we didn't want to charge people $12 an hour to hang out with 4 cats. I know a lot of people would do it anyways, but we just didn't want to do that. So we had to close twice because of that, which I thought was really cool. It was cool to be able to have all these cats get adopted. Right now, the room is pretty full. We have about 18 cats in there waiting to be adopted. Adoptions have been really slow the past 2 months, but that's kind of typical during the summer and fall months. So sometimes it just takes some time, but we average about 4 adoptions a week now, and we used to do 5 to 7 before the pandemic hit. And then during the initial pandemic, it was probably 8 adoptions a week. It was so many cats getting home. So it's super, super great. We also haven't seen a big return rate. So that means that most of the cats, they're staying in their homes, getting adopted, living their lives instead of coming back here. Because we do take cats back if they need to be returned.
Oh, really? Typically, why do people return?
Sometimes people return the cats because they just say it didn't work out. Other times we've had people who are like, oh, we found out my family member's allergic, or sometimes a lot of times, unfortunately, we have people adopt kittens and then they realize they're cats and they're not actually little toys they can play with. And they're like, oh, I have to take care of this? Never mind. And then we get a lot of kittens returned, unfortunately, which is why I always encourage people to adopt kittens in pairs because they keep each other busy and then they won't jump on your face at 2 in the morning. So yeah, it's way better to adopt 2 kittens where you had much less return rates with 2 kittens getting adopted together.
And all the cats come from paws, right?
Yeah, we work with Paws Atlanta. All the cats come from there here. At our Marietta location, we work with Cobb County Humane Society. So they're both super great shelters. Both no kills, so the cats can stay here as long as they need until they get adopted. We don't really believe in switching them out because it's just too stressful for them. So yeah, we just keep them here until they get adopted.
So what's the cat that's been here the longest?
Um, So right now, the cat in there that's been there the longest is a kitty named Winter Snow. He's been here since about December. He was unfortunately given up as a kitten because it said in the paperwork that the kids don't like him anymore, which is so sad. It makes me very sad because it just goes to show again that cats aren't toys. You know, they're real beings and they deserve love and they deserve homes. And just because your kid gets bored of them doesn't mean you should get rid of the cat. But yeah, I think a lot of people have a lot of misconceptions about that. But yeah, he's been here since December. He's a great cat. I think he will hopefully get adopted soon. He's a good boy. And then we have a couple other cats that have been here for a while. Simon's been here for about 6 or 7 months. He's super sweet. He's just a brown tabby. They kind of get overlooked a lot. They're like kind of like the new black cats. Like black cats. Yeah. Black cats usually have a hard time getting adopted, but now there's so much more awareness about it, so more people are adopting black cats. And now it's tabbies that are left behind, and we always have so many tabby cats in there. They're so cute, but they get overlooked a lot.
Ever get like kind of specialty breeds like Siamese cats or anything?
Yeah. Every now and then we get some really cool cats, like probably came from breeders before they came to us. Usually their owner surrenders of people who just like, again, they realize that they're work and they're not just an accessory. We've had a few Siamese kitties come in. One of my favorites was named Ren. He was so cute. He had the prettiest blue eyes and he was so much fun. And he got adopted with his brother, who was just like a regular black cat, which I thought was super funny. Isn't that weird? Yeah, they probably had different dads. Anyways, that's a whole nother story. But we had a Maine Coon come in named Big Ben. He just got adopted. He was super great. I think his owners probably got him from a breeder because he looked like a full Maine Coon. And then they surrendered him to the shelter, and then he got adopted.
Are those the cats that usually get adopted quicker, do you think?
I think so, but it also kind of depends on their personality. So, like, if they're hiding a lot, it might take them a little while. If they're really pretty and really sweet, they're going to be gone, like, ASAP. We had a very fat kitty come in named Daisy, and she was like 30 pounds, and everyone loved her so much because she was so huge and fat and friendly, and she got adopted within like 1 week. It was insane. It was so great. But yeah, I think just some of the really sweet ones, the really like pretty ones, they get adopted so fast. So yeah.
And how much are the adoption fees? Are they differentiate between like how old the cat is? Or
Yes. So at our Marietta location, it's $100 all around. Since we work with different shelters, they do different prices. For us, it's $50 for a senior cat, so a cat 7 or older. 7 isn't even really a senior age, so they just do it down just because older cats, they have a less likely chance of getting adopted. So it just helps, get them out of the shelter and into homes. Adult cats are $100, kittens are $125. With that, they're all spayed or neutered. They have all their shots, microchipped, deeply dewormed, tested negative for everything bad. Like, they are good to go. So yeah.
So how often would you say that you guys receive cats?
Probably every other week we receive cats.
And how many typically?
Typically 8 to 10. Yeah, usually lately I've been doing it where I go once a week and I just get 4 or 5. I've been finding that to be a little easier because having 8 to 10 cats adjust is a little bit harder than having 4 to 5 cats adjust. It's just easier to do them a little separately and just do it every week. But it is sometimes kind of hard to get to the shelter or have the shelter come out. So it is sometimes nice to have it every other week.
How do you choose
How do we choose? So the shelter typically chooses, but we do have some volunteers here who volunteer both here and at the shelter.
Is he a volunteer from Paws?
He is not actually. He's just a volunteer here. But we have a volunteer named Ed and we have a volunteer named Shell. Shout out to both of them. They're great. They volunteer at both places. And sometimes when I tell people, hey, we're going to get new cats next week, they'll text Paws and they'll be like, here's what I want to come, and they'll put in like special requests for certain kitties, and they'll usually, send those cats out, which is super great. And sometimes I'll request kitties too. I'm not at Paws super often, but I am there sometimes and just doing stuff. Usually picking up cats or paperwork or something. So I do get to see the kitties there, and sometimes I'm like, hey, can we take this one, But usually they choose. They have a really good idea of what cats get along with other cats and what cats don't. Just last week I went and got about 4 kitties, and the shelter told me, I asked them for this really cute kitty. Her name was Dew. And I was like, I really want Dew to come. And they were like, she can't come. She hates other cats. And I was like, oh, okay. So, I really do trust their judgment. I would hate for them to send us a cat that, like, doesn't like other cats. And that's never really happened before. So, works pretty good.
So is the cafe and the reservations the primary source of income for Java Cats?
Yeah, I think so. Definitely, we rely on people making reservations, coming in to see the cats. Of course, when people come in and buy coffee, that's a great bonus. Like, we love it when people do that. And we have a huge cafe space where people can sit and do schoolwork or do regular work or any type of work. We have free Wi-Fi, all that great stuff. And I think a lot of people forget that this is also a cafe. Like, we have a huge space for people to come do whatever, just like you would at Starbucks or some other place. So yeah.
So, do you have any like outside like donations or anything like that, or is it just like?
Sometimes we do have people donate stuff. A lot of times it's like cat beds, cat trees, cat toys, cat food, all of that great stuff. We get pretty much all of our canned food donations, or canned food is from donations. So all of our canned food is from donations.
From the community?
Just from the community, yeah. We've never had a need go unmet. Just last week, we asked everyone, we made a post on our Instagram, we're like, hey, we're out of cat litter. And like literally within 5 days, we have so much cat litter now. Like, yeah, it's awesome. We really never have a need that goes unmet. If we ever have a medical emergency with like a kitty that someone found or something like that, we can usually raise enough money to help the cat out and stuff like that. We've also made shirts and stuff to support specific cats, like special needs kitties and stuff like that. So it's super great. I really do appreciate everything from the community. I don't think we usually barely spend any money on the cats because the shelter also does all the veterinary care. Unless it's like an animal that someone found and we're like, okay, we'll help you, Those cats don't technically come here, but sometimes we do help people out and do like, personally we'll take them in until they find a home or something like that. And it's pretty great. It's pretty awesome. And yeah, it's great. The kitties, every time we need something for the cats, we get it pretty much every time. So it's super wonderful.
So I know that cats need, like what you just said, like wet food and stuff like that, and like litter. But like, what other?
Sorry.
Since Paws since Paws already like has them like chips and all this stuff and like their shots and everything. Like what other needs do the cats have?
Like I said, they really do like canned food. Paws gives us dry food, which is wonderful. But we don't get canned food from them just because they don't have a ton, which is totally fine. So a lot of times people will bring us canned food. We can always take any I'm sorry, I'm trying to think. Any toys or anything. The cats love treats. That's always something fun for people to donate. And then if people ever donate treats, sometimes I'm like, go in there and give them some treats, so they get like a free little 5-minute tour where they can give the cat some treats and hang out. Every now and then we have some people come and like fix things. We have a lot of things that break, unfortunately. The cat shelves are about 4.5 years old now, so some of them are falling apart, mostly because little kids step on them, which is very unfortunate. But we do have a guy named Trevor who works at a different area. He works in a different place, but he volunteers and he'll sometimes come and fix things. We have other volunteers who come and fix stuff too. Just a lot of people who really care. For donations, like I said, treats, toys, we can always use cat litter. Always use cat litter. We also take monetary donations usually. Anything like that. Kitten formula. A lot of us end up taking in baby neonatal bottle baby kittens, and formula is so expensive, just like human formula, like human baby formula. It's like $25 a thing, and then if you have 5 kittens and they have to be fed every 2 hours, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm done with this formula in 2 days, and then you're like, oh no. So it definitely costs a lot of money if we ever have bottle babies. So I always appreciate any kitten formula donations. Those are great too, because we end up taking in a lot of bottle babies during the summer because people just leave them here, which sucks.
Really?
But yeah, we have had a few times where cats have been left here, and we're just like, oh my gosh, we don't do this. We work with Paws, but we're always like, well, what can you do? So we like take them home and raise them and get them adopted and stuff like that, which is super great. But it's also like not. What else can you do? What? That's Opie. Sorry. All right. Yes.
This is great. I don't have any more questions. Well, what's your favorite thing about working here?
It's really hard to say. I've been working here for 4 years, almost 5 years now. Yeah, really long time. I started volunteering when I was 15, and Hayden hired me on my 16th birthday. So it was like a great birthday present. Like, guess what? Your first job is at the cat cafe. So it's really awesome. Of course, I love the cats, but I also really appreciate the community. The groups of people that come in here are usually so sweet and so nice. And I did meet my best friend through Java Cats. Hayden, the owner of Java Cats, when it started just being the two of us, we just became like a dynamic duo. Like we talk to each other like every day now because we're always just doing stuff here. We're here all the time together. It's really great to have a friend like that where it's like, we're both adults, but she's 10 years older than me, and it's just like crazy that I have this friendship with someone who is the owner of a business and stuff like that. I really appreciate what me and Hayden have. We're besties. Yeah, it is very sweet. We help each other out a lot, just with like taking care of each other's animals, covering each other's shifts because there are only two of us, doing things like that. But yeah, we're like a Java family. Yeah, super great.
That was all my questions already. Thank you.
Yeah, totally. I'm so glad it worked. Yeah.